are going to dive into body paragraphs today. So what I would like for you to do is, again, make sure that you have your colors are red or green or yellow out just in case you need them. And then we are going to get started. So today we're going to talk about body paragraphs. Now, when we talk about body paragraphs, this is the meat of our writing. This is where those reasons and details really come to life. So we know that green is the topic. Remember our stoplight that we've talked about. Okay, so we've got our green, our yellow, and our red. Okay, we know that green is the topic, and we'll come with a green sentences later on. Today, what we are focusing on is this chunk of the stoplight, the yellow and the red. Okay, yellow is going to be a reason, and red is going to be details. Now, in body paragraphs, they are made up of this part of the stoplight, the yellow and the red. That is where your body paragraphs are going to be made up of. So in a body paragraph, your very first sentence is going to be a yellow sentence, okay? And these yellow sentences, remember, kiddos, these come from your 3 yellow bubbles in your brainstorm. Okay? That's what I'm talking about when I talk about yellow. So remember my brainstorm model that I gave you, my 3 yellows were fantasy, action, and comedy. Now, kiddos, notice that I have 3 yellows, fantasy, action, and comedy. I'm going to write a paragraph for each one of these. So how many body paragraphs am I going to have in total? 3. I'm going to have 3 body paragraphs, okay? The yellow is going to be the first sentence of all of your body paragraphs. It is going to be a sentence where you tell one of your reasons, okay? And I'm going to show you an example of that in just a few minutes. And then the rest of your body paragraph is made up of your red, okay? These are your details, right? And remember, we came up with 3 details for every reason. So remember my brainstorm, okay? I had 3 details that went with fantasy. Remember I talked about dragons, magic, taking me to another world. Action, I talked about fighting Lord Voldemort, playing Quidditch, keeps me on the edge of my seat. Comedy, I talked about Ron being scared of spiders, Draco turning into a ferret, and laughing makes me feel good, okay? So remember, I gave those 3 details for each yellow. So that's where these details are going to come into play. And we want a complete sentence for each red, okay? This should be done in complete sentences, okay? So these examples are like what I said up here. These 3 reds that I came up with in my brainstorm, okay? That's what this should look like. Now, I'm going to take a picture of this so that I can put this on Google Classroom for you. Let's see what this looks like when we put it into writing, okay? So when I'm going to title this Harry Potter Example Essay. Okay, so when I'm writing, please, 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 y'all, I know you want to change your fonts. I know you think that's so much fun. I can't read it. Okay, pick a normal font for me to read it. It doesn't have to be Arial. Okay, I like Century Gothic. That's my favorite. But no cursive, no bubble letters. I cannot read it. Okay, I'm going to change it anyway. So please write in a normal font. We're going to color code today while we write. So I'm not worried about a hook. I'm not worried about a thesis today. Today we are focusing on body paragraph. So I am going to write one of my paragraphs for you. So think back to my brainstorm. I have a picture of it. Remember, this is the brainstorm that we did. And so today I'm going to talk about comedy. I'm just going to write a paragraph about my comedy part. So remember that we said body paragraphs are one paragraph just about this part of the brainstorm. So this would be a paragraph, this would be a paragraph, and this is a paragraph. Okay, I'm going to write you one of those paragraphs today. Remember that the first sentence is going to be a sentence talking about the comedy, and then I'm going to have 3 separate sentences, at least 3, about these details here. So when I'm writing, I want to have my brainstorm opened. Okay, I'm going to make that smaller so I can have it pulled up here. I know it's kind of small, hard for you to see, but remember, brainstorms are for me, right? So they're there for me to help me write. So your brainstorm is there for you to help you write. So when I write, I want my first sentence to be in yellow. You're going to do that, guys, by going to the A and picking a yellow color. Now, if yellow is hard for you to see, you may absolutely write in orange. I'm going to write in orange today because it is hard for you to see yellow on the computer, but it does need to be in a yellow or an orange color. So when I type, I always indent. I can indent by hitting the tab button. It's right above the caps lock button on the left side of your computer. It says tab, T-A-B. Okay, I'll hit tab, then I'm going to start. Now, remember, I said comedy. I'm going to write the comedy paragraph today. I said it was my third reason. I said reason. You see that number 3 up there? Third reason. So when I start off, I'm going to say the third reason I love, we capitalize proper nouns, Harry Potter, is because it is sprinkled with comedy. What does that mean, sprinkled with comedy? Well, it just means that it's not a funny movie, but there are little tidbits of comedy all throughout the movie. So little bitty parts that make me laugh. So I say it's sprinkled with comedy, okay? So I want you to notice this big, beautiful sentence. I just didn't say, I love Harry Potter because it's funny. No, okay? I started out with a good start. The third reason I love or I like or I adore Harry Potter, that's my topic, okay? I'm always going to go back to my topic, is because it's sprinkled with comedy. If I were going to say this about action, I would say it's because it's packed with action. If I was going to say this about fantasy, I'd say because it is full of fantasy, okay? I'm going to say my third reason, my first reason, my second reason I chose Harry Potter is because, okay? So I need a big, pretty sentence for your yellow. And then you're going to do your reds. This is where the chunk of your writing comes from. It comes from your reds. So on my brainstorm, I talked about Ron being scared of spiders, Draco turning into a ferret, and laughing makes me feel good. So I need to make each of those their own sentence, okay? So I'm going to give an example. In Chamber, this is the name of one of the movies, In Chamber of Secrets. Notice that I am capitalizing proper nouns. Names of movies are proper nouns. In Chamber of Secrets, Ron is a name. I capitalize it, is terrified. Ooh. It would help if I spelled correctly. Of spiders. And cringes. Oops. Every time he sees them. This is an example from the movie, kiddos. If I'm saying Harry Potter is full of comedy, I need to give an example of that comedy. Well, this is an example. One of my characters is scared of spiders. He cringes every time he sees them, okay? So I'm saying I laugh so hard every time I see that face. Boom. Notice I'm popping in an exclamatory sentence, kind of mixing it up, okay? Then I'm going to say another example. Remember, go to my second one right here, the second bubble, okay, is when Draco gets turned into a ferret, okay? That's hilarious. I say hilarious. It helps remember how to spell it. The word is hilarious. I say that's hilarious, okay? That means it's funny. Hilarious is a synonym for funny. Okay, and then I've got my last right here, laughing makes me feel good. So I'm going to say laughing during these movies makes me feel good and makes me want to watch them over and over again. All right, I'm going to make this a little bit smaller so it'll all fit. You can see it. There we go. Okay, look at that, kiddos. That is a paragraph. Okay, I took one yellow comedy and I gave it 3 to 5 sentences. Now, I know that you're probably not going to have this much red. That's going to come with time. Okay? But what I want you to focus on is giving me at least a sentence for each of these. Ron is terrified of spiders. Another example is when Draco gets turned into a ferret, and then laughing makes me feel good. These little extras, that's hilarious, or I laugh so hard every time I see that face, that's just extra detail to spice up my writing. Okay? So guys, I'm going to do this for every one of my bubbles. So I should have this much writing for every bubble. I should have at least 5 sentences for every bubble. So in your writing, when you're doing body paragraphs, I should see at least 15 sentences. Okay, that's about how many I should be seeing when you're doing body paragraph writing. Okay, so kiddos, when you're ready to start your next one, you just hit enter a couple of times, go back in here and change your color, hit your tab button, and you start your next one. So this was my 3rd paragraph, so I'd actually start up above it. Right, so I could start the 2nd reason, right? I'm going to change my word, adore Harry Potter is because it is packed with action. Okay? See that? And then if I want to talk about my 1st reason, I could say the 1st reason I chose Harry Potter is because it is full of fantasy. Look how good my yellow sentences are. I know that sounds like I'm bragging on myself, and I don't mean to do that. I'm just saying this is what I want your sentences to look like, okay? And then you're going to go in and you'll give me your reds for each of them. So under action, I would give a sentence about fighting Lord Voldemort. I would give a sentence about playing Quidditch, and I would give a sentence about how action keeps me on the edge of my seat. Here, I'm going to give a sentence about how they fight dragons. Here, I'm going to give a sentence about when Harry realizes he's a wizard. And here I'm going to give me a sentence about how these movies take me to another world. Okay? All right, kiddos. So I'm going to let you go to work on your own. Check your agenda for your assignment. Let me know if you need any help. But don't forget, this is what you want your writing to look like. There is going to be an anchor chart on Google Classroom for you to look at if you need help. And I will also attach this paragraph there so that you have a body paragraph to look at. Okay, kiddos? All right, thanks for working hard for me today. If you need any help, let me know.